Festival, which is a beautiful documentary short. How are you?
I am doing really good. Thank you. I feel that this is the second time we've attempted this.
Yes,
but
we've been having difficulties with the signal, which might be my fault. So I apologize.
I
But let's try it this
no.
time and
Yeah.
hopefully all goes through. So Tessa, tell us
Okay.
about well, before you starting about your documentary, can you tell us about yourself?
Yes. Okay. Okay. So firstly, thank you so much for having me tonight. This is really cool. So my name is Tessa. I live in Cape Town, South Africa. I grew up in Johannesburg. I grew up with a love for wildlife and conservation and a passion for just nature and spending as much time in nature as I can. And then I I thought I'd be a scientist. I always thought I'd become a scientist, but then I decided to become a filmmaker instead because I realized that's where my passion really was and where I could really make a big impact.
That's a pretty
And
big
here I
switch up.
am. I know it's a really big switch up. It was a big realization. Actually, I realize now looking back, it was probably the best decision because filmmaking is just an incredible privilege to be able to tell stories and to just to have such incredible experiences, diverse experiences, meet such interesting people. That's a little bit about me. I'm currently freelancing. I started out doing cinematography and now I am also directing.
Fantastic. Let's go straight into your submission.
Yes. Okay. So my submission is called Beyond the Fence. It is basically about three young people they all come from rural areas surrounding the Kruger National Park. For anyone who is not local to South Africa, that's the biggest game reserve in South Africa. And it follows their entry into wildlife conservation and how they all took a course in wildlife photography, and that really exposed them to wildlife and really got them passionate about conservation. And so it really just follows that story of how the power of wildlife photography can really get people passionate about conservation.
Okay, so for the viewers, I mean, what we I mean, what's your documentary? What do you say? What would the best part about it? What's your favorite part of it?
Okay, so my favorite part is just how empowering I think it is. How you've got people telling their own stories, and just kind of really, I think my favorite part is just seeing how people's lives can change, and how people can really start to feel this sense of pride and building an identity around protecting our natural heritage and our wildlife, and just being really proud to be South African and to have all this biodiversity. So to give you a little bit of background, essentially, obviously South Africa has a very hectic history, and the socio-political situation is still very unequal, and there's a lot of poverty, and you've got the majority of South Africans actually live in poverty and don't have access to wildlife as something to be enjoyed. um, so so essentially, that's kind of got to change, right? Because I feel like it's been my privilege to basically be able to enjoy wildlife and go to national parks my whole life, and I feel like this is something that should be enjoyed by all of us, and we should really have a pride in what we have. But you can't care about something if you don't have access to it, if you can't see it. So so I really felt like to go back to your question, my favorite part of the film is just that seeing that passion like come through and really like creating, like knowing that it's like a new dawn, you know.
Okay. And I know we spoke earlier, Internet, about wanted your work to have an impact and to be able to change, to make change. Have you always felt that
Yes.
way? Have you done other works that basically, go in the same, that have where you have the same mindset?
Absolutely. I just am full of passion, and I just always, I just feel like I need to live my life with purpose. I need to just help make a difference in this world.
So that's your driving force behind is that your driving force behind you creates? Because
Yeah, absolutely.
this is your second documentary, correct?
Second documentary, yes. First time directing. So my first two short films, I was doing cinematography. This one, I'm directing, actually. But yes, that's always been my driving force. Is to, I mean, I'm obsessed with animals. Growing up, I thought I just got to save animals no matter what. I just got to save animals. But then, I kind of I realized as I got older, I kind of realized that there's more to it. It's the world we live in is so layered, and we have so many socioeconomic issues right now, and there needs to be social justice, and that has to be very high on our list of priorities, because if people are not if people don't have their basic needs met, then nothing else can happen from there. So yeah, so absolutely, I've always just been driven by wanting to make a difference, and just kind of create as many experiences as I can. Yeah.
Okay.
That
And
makes sense.
let's talk a little bit more about your experience. How long have you been doing this? I think you said it's been about what, 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years, yeah. So I went to film school. I graduated in 2017, and I've been freelancing ever since. So I would say I really started around 2016. So it's actually been 3 or 4 years.
And have you faced any challenges as, I mean, not only an independent creative, an independent filmmaker, but as a female independent filmmaker?
Absolutely. I think the stereotypes are still very much there. I do think it is the film landscape is getting better for women. There are more opportunities, but I do still think there is still a stereotype. I mean, I can't even count how many times I have walked onto set and I've been told, oh, the makeup department's that way, and it's like, oh well, actually, I'm here for the camera department, and you know,
And plus, you
makeup's
look
great,
really
but
young, so I guess you look really young, and I guess people are like, "Who the hell is she?" And you're like, "Well, I'm the director. Thank you very
yeah,
much."
well, actually, funny enough, so my first passion is actually cinematography, camera work. I come from a background of photography, and funny story. I thought that filmmaking, when I first started, I thought filmmaking was all about camera work. I was like, wait, what do you mean there are people in the film industry who don't know how to use a camera? Like, isn't that all it's about? But I feel I've always kind of felt like I need to do as much research as I can and just make sure that I'm completely jacked up on how everything works to do with cameras. I need to be able to carry all the heavy equipment. I need to make sure I know what I'm talking about at all times so that I can prove that I can do this job as well as a guy can. Which kind of sucks if you
That's a
think about
great
it.
mindset. That's a really good mindset to have.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it does kind of suck that it is kind of how I feel I have to be. I mean, yeah, I bought myself a drone last year because I was like, you know what, I can fly drones. I can use gimbal stabilizers and all those kind of things. Like, but it shouldn't stop me. Being a woman
So,
shouldn't
your
have to stop.
advice for other females that are maybe I mean, I'm not going to say you're new to it because you can accomplish a lot in time. But do you for other young female, and not just females, like just young filmmakers in the industry that are working
Yeah,
independently?
absolutely. I would say just start shooting. I think the best advice that I got was just shoot. Just start shooting and just start telling your stories. If you have a voice, if you have a style, if you have ideas, it's never been easier to get them out there. I mean, with YouTube and all those kind of things, like, you have a platform to really create something for yourself. And there is so much talent and so much potential, and it's a great time, really, because the technology, we've got all this technology at our disposal. So anyone, I don't want to say anyone can be a filmmaker, but I mean, it's easy enough to pick up a camera and start, making something. And yeah, and I mean, like, now more than ever, there are so many stories out there that really need to be told. So I think my advice is, yeah, just start doing your thing, believe in yourself. Yeah, I think one of my biggest kind of setbacks has always been like comparing myself or just feeling like I wasn't good enough. But you can't let that stop you. You just gotta do it. You just gotta really back yourself.
That's some really positive words right there. Last question: what do you? How important do you think festivals such as the SA Indie Film Fest are for independent creatives?
I think film festivals are the most valuable thing. I'm so grateful to be accepted into SA Indie Film Festival. It's just such an amazing way to get your stuff out there. And yeah, and to really get that recognition for your hard work. And also, I think one of the biggest things for me with film festivals has been the networking. So when I was like fresh out of university and I didn't really know how to do anything, I thought, I'm just gonna try meet people, just go to networking sessions. And yeah, so it's not just about seeing other films, which is important, by the way, because like you want to see what other people are doing, you want to see what's current, but it's also just about meeting people, and it's easy to find people who can mentor you as well. I found that to be really valuable. That's a really, really valuable part of festivals. So yeah, the mentorship and, like I said, the exposure, and also because we are independent, like you said, it's we can kind of drive our own films. We can enter them. We don't have to wait for some big distributor. So I think that's a really valuable aspect as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being a part of the South African Independent Film Festival. For everybody that's just tuned in, we're talking today to Volume. She was talking about her submission into our festival, which you can get once you buy your tickets. So, Tessa, thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck in everything you do. I'm looking forward to you.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you so much for an amazing platform, an amazing opportunity, and I'm just very grateful.
Great. Thank you, Tessa.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye. Now it does want to kick us off.
Oh, no. It's like,
I'm gonna.
enough of us.
But I'm gonna try and end this again.
Okay.
And it's absolutely.
Are we still?
We're gone.